Renault's Formula One team, racing under the Alpine name, had anticipated a rough beginning to the 2024 season with the launch of the new Alpine A524. However, the reality was even worse than expected. Team principal Bruno Famin acknowledged the challenges ahead, but the extent of the difficulties was underestimated. Alpine drivers Esteban Ocon and Pierre Gasly ended up at the back of the grid during qualifying for the season-opening Bahrain Grand Prix, reflecting the car's poor performance. The team had hoped for a better race day, but it didn't improve. The Alpines finished 17th and 18th, trailing behind Valtteri Bottas and Logan Sargent, who only fell back due to race issues. This dismal performance underscored Alpine's position at the bottom of the standings. Adding to the team's troubles, technical director Matt Harman and head of aerodynamics Dirk resigned, leading to a restructuring of the technical leadership. Although their resignations occurred before the season started, the news was not promptly communicated to the team, with many staff learning about it through the media. This upheaval follows another significant change just 7 months prior when team principal Otmar Szafnauer and sporting director Permane departed after conflicts with the ownership regarding the timeline for success. Even the most pessimistic forecasts couldn't have predicted the team's current position at the season's start. Clearly, significant issues have arisen, raising the question of what went wrong. The Alpine A524 is plagued by several issues, with the most critical being its excessive weight. Although rumors suggest it might be 11 kilograms over the 798 kilogram minimum, Pierre Gasly confirmed the car is overweight, though perhaps not by that much. Even so, an excess of around 10 kilograms can significantly affect performance, costing 0.3 to 0.4 seconds per lap depending on the track. The weight problem stems mainly from the monocoque failing the side impact test. The monocoque was designed with weight-saving features, including sections with empty spaces instead of solid carbon fiber. Despite simulations indicating adequate strength, it failed the test dramatically, leading to reinforcement and added weight. Additionally, the car suffers from poor traction, with drivers reporting mid-corner understeer, exacerbating the traction issues. The A524 also lacks downforce, impacting both front and rear aerodynamics. This deficit is due to missed aerodynamic targets during development. Despite Matt Harman stating the car's characteristics are as expected, its performance is far below what is needed. Moreover, the car has a power unit deficit of about 15 brake horsepower. Efforts to improve efficiency, such as modifying the exhaust to reduce parasitic losses, have not resolved this issue. These problems collectively explain why Ocon and Gasly struggled in Bahrain. For a factory team, the Alpine is shockingly the slowest car on the grid, and this is unlikely to change soon. The team and drivers are trying to maintain a normal facade, acknowledging the car's poor performance, but expressing optimism about future improvements. After the race, Famin posted on social media, highlighting the team's collective effort and promising better results in Saudi Arabia. However, by then, it was already known that Harman and had resigned, a surprise to many within the team, including those working trackside during the race. Harman resigned after the chassis completed the necessary homologation for testing, but stayed on to oversee the Bahrain Grand Prix and early season upgrades. Resigned before the Bahrain Grand Prix. Both are believed to have resigned for personal reasons rather than being dismissed, and then presenting it as resignations. The car's underperformance likely influenced their decision to leave. Alpine showed the smallest improvement in lap times among all teams compared to the 2023 Bahrain qualifying. The resignations could be due to frustration over insufficient resources and facilities to deliver on the ambitious car concept, or they might have been scapegoated for the poor performance. with extensive F1 experience, was responsible for the aerodynamic shortcomings, while Harman, as technical director, was responsible for the overall car design, including the chassis. If simulation tools misled them about load evaluations, it indicates potential issues with the team's equipment and facilities. Alpine had to respond quickly to minimize the disruption caused by these resignations. Although the Alpine team was overly optimistic in thinking the resignations of Harman and wouldn't leak in Bahrain, management did eventually notify the team personnel. Some were informed on race day, but it wasn't until Monday after the race that a team-wide announcement was made, with both Harman and participating. Alpine also introduced a new three-pillared approach to its technical leadership, similar to McLaren's strategy last year, appointing a trio of technical directors. These promotions were internal. Matt Harman as Technical Director of Engineering, David Weir as Technical Director of Aerodynamics, and Kieran Pilbeam as Technical Director of Performance. Eric Manin remains the Power Unit Technical Director, based in Viry-Châtillon, France. All four will report to team principal Bruno Famine. The changes to the technical structure had been considered for some time, though Harman and De Beer's resignations may have accelerated the process. In their press release, Alpine stated the reorganization comes after disappointing results, dropping from 4th in the 2022 championship to 6th in 2023, missing several key targets in their ambition to reach the front of the grid. While the new structure follows a proven model like McLaren's and the appointed directors are highly capable, it remains to be seen if Alpine can make it work. Despite the resignations of Harman and De Beer, the Alpine team still has a dedicated and skilled group of people working tirelessly to improve the A524. The key question is whether the car can be made competitive. Upgrades are expected after the early races, and Harman mentioned at the start of the Bahrain Grand Prix weekend that there is a plan to reduce the car's weight, though it will be a long-term effort rather than a quick fix. While Esteban Ocon has talked about the potential for a turnaround similar to McLaren's in 2023, there is a significant difference. Unlike McLaren, which made a dramatic shift in direction over the winter, there is no indication that Alpine has done the same. Alpine is only talking about gradual improvements. One area of hope is the much-vaunted change in concept focusing on modifications to the suspension, which might unlock more development potential. However, it's uncertain whether the team fully understands how the aerodynamics and mechanical platforms interact. Another small ray of hope is that Bahrain has traditionally been a challenging track for the team, which might have exaggerated the car's weaknesses. Given that Bahrain is a circuit that heavily depends on traction and power, Alpine might perform slightly better. Harman has stated that definitive conclusions can't be drawn from Bahrain due to its unique track characteristics. Nonetheless, even with these caveats, it's evident that the car's performance is far below what is acceptable for a factory team. After significant mid-season changes last year, including the departure of Szafnauer, there was a renewed sense of optimism within Alpine. These changes occurred just before Alpine shifted its full development focus to the 2024 car. The shakeup stemmed from a fundamental disagreement between Szafnauer and Renault over the timeline to achieve competitive targets, which surely did not include being at the back of the grid at the start of the 2024 season. The team has been plagued by long-term plans for success, beginning with the initial 5-year plan to become title contenders when Renault acquired the Lotus outfit in 2016. When that proved overly ambitious, it was replaced by a 100-race plan introduced by then Alpine CEO Laurent Rossi in 2021, which has since been abandoned. Bruno Famine now emphasizes constant improvement in all areas instead of rigid targets. He has highlighted the progress made in the trackside operations since mid-last year and aims to extend this progress to the factories in Enstone and Viry. While Famine's message of continuous improvement is sound, suggesting that a team like Alpine will eventually succeed if it keeps improving in all areas, the team's on-track performance casts doubt on whether these intentions are being realized. This is why Renault's approach is crucial. Since its return to F1 as a team owner, Renault has focused on efficiency and doing more with less. Although F1's cost cap limits both operational spending and capital expenditure, questions remain about whether Alpine has the necessary resources to continually enhance its facilities. The repetitive cycle of optimism after advancing to the front of the midfield, followed by regression, changes, renewed optimism, and further regression, is becoming tiresome. It raises the question of whether the issue lies not with the frequent changes in team leadership and technical departments, but with the ownership itself, namely Renault. When Pat Fry left Alpine last year to join Williams, it was mainly because he felt there was a lack of enthusiasm and ambition to surpass 4th place. Similarly, after Fernando Alonso moved to Aston Martin at the end of 2022, he suggested that the team was content with 4th place. How Renault and the Alpine F1 team respond to this situation is a significant test of their commitment. While there is optimism for 2026, and Famine claims the new power unit project is progressing well, Alpine needs to be fully committed to developing that car by January 2025. However, doubts persist about whether their facilities are capable of producing a car that can compete at the front of the grid, which is essential for a works team. This latest turmoil and its handling raise further questions about whether the team can achieve its F1 ambitions. If the team continues to struggle, it may soon be time for Renault to consider selling and exiting the sport. Let me know your thoughts about the team in the comments.